Thursday evening. So you know what that means. Kind of have a catch up based on Abdul show yesterday, which was fantastic. And if you haven't watched it, go back to the videos. Abdul kind of unpacks quite a few things, talking about his singing moment, which kind of went viral. Talking about Victor Gyökeres, um, the Arsenal Academy, Hale End, and also kind of being kind to people around you. So really interesting show, and he kind of touched on a few key topics. And I think if you haven't watched it, it's a much must watch. Guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification to keep in touch, in tune, and connected with Gunny to Old Trafford as we kind of drive through the different shows. Well, the eBay show, it's a bit of a mesh of things that are kind of running through my. We have a few topics that I'd like to touch on. But before we get going, I think just congratulations to Morocco for winning the Arab Cup, winning 3-2 in the final. A really fantastic game, end to end stuff. And I think it sets them up nicely as they run into the AFCON. And I've heard some of the players talking, and they kind of have their sights set on driving the win through the AFCON, and then looking at the World Cup as well. So, yeah, Moroccan football has been great over the last couple of seasons. So really interesting to see how they kind of develop over the next couple of months, or how they progress over the next couple of months with the AFCON and World Cup kind of coming up. Um, on my end, one of the topics I like to touch on, and I see it's a massive debate in a few chat rooms that I'm in a few United groups, is are Manchester United progressing, or going backwards, or staying stagnant under Ruben Amorim, and over the last couple of seasons. And I know we live in an age where people want instant gratification, instant fixes, etc. But like Regnick said a couple of years ago, we need open heart surgery at Manchester United. And to expect a club who finished 15th last season to come in this season and be completely consistent and kind of drive, massive engagement, I think, you're either not thinking right, or you're living in a delusional kind of state, because honestly, a team that finished 15th last year need the kind of building, or stepping stones to kind of build up to something more great. And what we've seen with Manchester United is a little bit of that shift happening. Amorim has come in, he's set us up in a specific way, and he plays in a specific way. So yes, there isn't real patterns of play, or there isn't a real direction, but we understand from an Amorim team, you're going to play a 5-2-3, or a 5-3-2, or however that kind of makeup is, with your three center backs, your two wide wing backs, your two holding midfielders, and then your three up front, kind of driving forward. So we know how an Amorim team sets up. Yeah, we also seen the players that have left, obviously not hungry enough for Manchester United. We've seen Garnacho go. And what kills me of Garnacho is when he was at United, he was sulky, he was performing. And now he goes to Chelsea, and he's a regular bench player, and he's happy to kind of commit and drive the team forward. So obviously there was something fundamentally wrong happening at United with these type of egos and these type of behaviors in the club. So glad to see that kind of changing and shifting out a little bit. We've seen the likes of Marcus Rashford, who couldn't put in a shift for Manchester United, kind of giving his all at Barcelona. We've seen Anthony kind of driving forward, and he couldn't do it at Manchester United. Rasmus the same in Italy. So he's got rid of players that doesn't fit his mold, maybe doesn't fit the way Manchester United play, and has brought in players that are noticeably making a difference in the way we approach a game of football, and the way we kind of drive a game of football. And you see it with Brian Mbuemo, Cunha, Sesko, and Lemons in the back, where we kind of driving forward. So you see the vision of the coach in kind of changing the dynamics of the team, and the results, or at least the football, in my opinion, is getting a little better. Yes, the results are not there. Yes, the football can be better at times, but I see a certain style of football. And again, I know in football you can't rely on ifs and buts, but I'm going to go down that route in any case, because when you look at Manchester United and where we are currently, had we gone in and taken points against Everton, a 10-man Everton that we should have won, had we gone in and closed the game out against Nottingham Forest from a winning position, not conceding two goals in a short space of time and in needing an equalizer, had we gone on and beat Tottenham from a winning position, had we gone on and beat West Ham from a winning position, had we gone on and beat Bournemouth from a winning position, the table looks very different, and Manchester United could be firmly, you know, within the top three and kind of competing not for the championship, but at least for that four spot. So I think we need to learn to close out games. So let's circle back to the question I posed: Are Manchester United going forward? Are they remaining stagnant, or are they going backwards under Ruben Amorim? Honestly, for me, the coach is stubborn in certain ways, but I see what he's trying to do. I see the change. I see the development. I see the growth. And I think we need to stick with this coach. We need to get him through a couple of transfer windows, let him get the players he needs. And I think Ruben Amorim is the man to take Manchester United forward. So, in my opinion, I see the growth. Yes, it's minimal, but I do see the growth. And I think we as fans need to be patient. We can't live in this instant gratification mode that we normally used to, and kind of understand that we need to develop this club. We need to develop our standards. We need to develop our style of play to bring Manchester United back to the top. Do you think Man United is going to be top of the table? Mr. No Name, say hi. Hey, Mr. No Name. Honestly, I don't think they can be top of the table at this point. I think there's still a lot of development, a lot of growth. But what I do think is this league this season has not been the most consistent league. Any team can win any team on any day. And I believe Manchester United has an awesome opportunity to finish within the European spaces. And, that's anywhere between first and seventh, and kind of getting us either Champions League, Europa League, or Conference League football. Yes, it's not ideal to be in conference, but I think if we want to be able to compete, we need to kind of drive things forward. I'll come back to the Mohamed Salah discussion because we spoke about it a couple of last week on the EB show, but I'll kind of pick up on it. The next topic I wanted to kind of touch on, and I think it talks to Ruben Amorim and the way Manchester United are growing, is our midfield targets for January. We're at a point where we're obviously losing a couple of players to the AFCON. So we've got Mazraoui, Ahmad, and Imbuemo going off to the AFCON, and obviously leaves a big gap in our midfield, in our team. Not only our midfield, leaves a big gap on the right hand side of our team. So what do Manchester United do? Do we sit back and take the chance of the team kind of falling back, or do we dip into the transfer window? And yes, I know the January transfer window is not the best window to be dipping in, because you generally don't really get Oisha, what a beast. You don't get the best value in terms of players, or the prices that you're paying, etc. But what you do get is players like Bruno Fernandes that you can snap up. You get players like Henrik Larsson that can come in on a short-term loan. So we've seen real successes coming in January, and I think if we want to get those top positions and if we want to remain consistent throughout the season, then that's something we definitely need to do. And what I've heard around the transfer mill, and whether it's just the Glazers and Radcliffe kind of trying to get some noise around Manchester United, because they do work on clicks and social media activity. Um, I've heard names of Elliot Anderson, Semenyo, Baleba kind of being thrown around, and I'm hoping with some of that noise, we get a lot of something sticks. And I hope Manchester United kind of, dip into the transfer market, strengthen the team, and get ready for the second half of the season. Before I get into my next topic, let's see what some of the questions are. I know there was a question from Mr. No Name. What happened to Mo Salah? I mean, Mo Salah is a fantastic footballer. He's been really great for Liverpool Football Club. I think he's been a real revelation for the African continent. But I think every player kind of goes through the ups and downs. And, Liverpool Football Club at this point are kind of doing a lot of ups and downs. They're going through a transition with Slot, where he's trying to get his blueprint on the team. And it seems from the outside in, obviously, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But from what we hear from Salah, is that there's a disconnect between him and the coach. And maybe Salah doesn't fit his mold. And maybe Slot is thinking, we can cash in, get 50, 60 million pounds and go and reinvest it in a defender or in a holding midfielder, etc., to really solidify the team. So, and I think for Salah also, he's done what he's needed to do. He's won two Premier League titles. He's won a Champions League with Liverpool Football Club. And I think if he goes with his head high. And the one benefit of him leaving Liverpool Football Club is that I can now go ahead and buy a Mo Salah top for wherever he kind of moves into. Oisha, you will get blocked with those type of comments. The real Tim Cheese, love and support. Zaid Kasu, love and support. Love. Waisha Isak. My daughter Naila likes to say Isaac because they say he's a sucky player, doesn't really play well. Um, Isak, honestly, he's a class footballer. I think he just needs time to kind of understand how the team plays, and we will see the best out of Isak in the next couple of weeks. From a United fans perspective, I hope he doesn't do well, but he's class, and I think he'll come good. Yeah. Uh, Firoza Kesim, is it Andy Firoza? Is it Abdul? Ibidu, love it, thank you. Love and support. Thanks, Oisha. Love and support from Lens. Lens boys in the house. Thank you for that. Did you speak to Mo Salah? Unfortunately, no. It would be fantastic to do so. I did have an interview with Spain legend. If you guys haven't seen it, please jump onto the videos and kind of have a look at what we're doing. Yeah. Hola, brother. How's it, Buti? Thanks for joining the live. Um, so yeah, from just to close out the topic around Manchester United signings in the January transfer window, I hope we dip into the market. I hope we get a holding midfielder in Elliot Anderson or Carlos Baleba. I'm hoping it's more Elliot Anderson than Baleba, but I mean, the coach, if he wants Baleba, I think the club need to back him. And I hope the Semenyo rumors are true, because I think you get a player like him coming in, it kind of minimizes the impact of Embuemo going out. And at 60 million pounds, I think Semenyo is a steal. And I think then you kind of solidify your front, where any of those players can kind of interlink and kind of support each other across from Cunha, Imbuemo, Sesko, and Semenyo. So let's see. There's been big talks around City and Liverpool also going in for him. So, when United in the race with others, we normally, haven't been great at it the last couple of seasons. But let's see where the window takes us. The next topic that I want to talk about, which for me is the Mumish of the week. If you know, you know. If you've been a member of Gunning to Old Trafford or subscriber to Gunning to Old Trafford, we used to do the Mumish of the week. And for me, the Mumish of the week has to go to Kobe Mainoo's brother. I think maybe he thought he was still in Love Island, coming with a free Mainoo shirt. I mean, if that's prison, I would bite his hand off to be in it, right? 20 years old, playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world, um, representing Manchester United. I would bite his hand off to be there. So if that's prison, come on, kind of bring it on. And there's been some talks this today I've seen from Ben Jacobs, and I don't know if it's a 100% true quote from Ben Jacobs, but apparently Mainoo was on board with the message, and he's kind of supportive of his brother doing that. And I think all that does is just make your situation even more difficult at Manchester United. Gone are the days where these young players put their head down, grind, and kind of try to force their way into the club. The likes of David Beckham had to go out on loan to Wimbledon before he could come back into Manchester United. We had players like Cristiano Ronaldo kind of grinding to be there, Wayne Rooney, and you've got these youngsters who are entitled and feel they just need to walk into the football club. Yes, Mainoo is a talent. Yes, Mainoo, we want to see you playing for Manchester United, but we want to see it done the right way. And I think pulling stunts off like free Mainoo shirts and what Ganacho's brother used to do, if that's the energy that you bring into this football club, then unfortunately we don't want you at this football club. I love Kobe Mainoo. I honestly hope that he would be a stay at Manchester United, and that he would etch his name into the legendary status at Manchester United. But if that's the behavior that he kind of wants to portray and drive or send messages through his brother, then unfortunately for me, that type of attitude and that type of player doesn't belong in a club in a club like Manchester United. So I'm hoping that Ben Jacobs isn't correct, and I'm hoping that Kobe Mainoo doesn't kind of condone those type of messages. But like Roy Keane said, you don't give too much attention to it. These footballers are normally surrounded by idiots, and it's usually the family that are the ones. So let's hope that Kobe Mainoo kind of distances himself from that, puts his head down, grinds, and kind of fights for his position at Manchester United. The next topic I'd like to jump into is a topic that it's close to my heart, and I think we're discussing it over and over and over again, which is the ref watch, the PGMOL, and the way they kind of implement decisions. And I'm going to talk through the Manchester United Bournemouth game. And for me, there were so many moments in the game that had the shoe been on the other foot, I think the decisions are given. There were a few moments, yes, there were some where it was ball to hand, but there were a couple of moments in the game where the Brighton player's hand is definitely away from his body in the box, and a penalty is not given. And I've seen these decisions go against Manchester United over the last couple of seasons, where VAR intervened and gave penalties when it wasn't needed. I know there was one game against Manchester City where this happened. And I think this is something we need to ensure that if we want the Premier League to be the best league with the best players and the best coaches, we also need to ensure that we have the best officiating in the league. And currently, the English Premier League's officiating for me is one of the lowest standards, not only in England, but I think globally. And I think that's something that needs to kind of be picked up on. Another decision, I've seen Casimiro get sent off and banned for 3 matches for putting his hands around a player's neck. And over the weekend, on Monday night, we saw Semenyo grab Dallo around the neck. And instead of seeing marching orders, and I'm not someone who wants to see player games reduced to 10 men. But having seen players being sent off for much less, you wonder why that decision wasn't given, and that Dallo and Semenyo walk away with a yellow card for a situation like that. So for me, I think my thing is not so much about the United decisions, because I've seen and I heard decisions across the Premier League. Chelsea fans complaining, Liverpool fans complaining, and we kind of find that a bit cheap that they complain. Arsenal fans complaining, the lower, the smaller clubs, and I say that with all respect, complaining about decisions. Um, and it's disheartening to see that there isn't any consistency, and you don't know what type of decision you're going to get this week, based on how the officials are feeling and based on how the refs in the VAR booth are feeling, and that kind of takes away this beauty of this football club. Vereniging Old Boys, best football channel on earth. Let's go, gunning to Old Trafford. Um, And yeah, I mean, just a few more topics that I like to touch on. EAFC 26. Gunning to Old Trafford is rocking on it. You would have seen this week there was I did my post-match reaction while playing FIFA, but we're definitely going to have a standing session either on a Friday night or Saturday night where you get to see Abdul and I playing EAFC and kind of working through. Or if you'd like, you can drop into the DMs on either of our socials and challenge us to a game of FIFA. We had a boy from Lanesia South called Zamir Kasu, kind of flexing and thinking that he's the bee's knees when it comes to FIFA. And unfortunately, it's there for, or fortunately for me, it's there for everyone to see that he got absolutely smashed on FIFA this past week. 7-5 on Khan and Papa. Let's go. So gunning to Old Trafford, EAFC, watch the space. There's going to be some amazing content being driven out there. Again, just a reminder, we dropped a fantastic session with Luis Garcia, Champions League winner, Liverpool legend, Barcelona legend, Spain legend. It is on our channel. Drop in, have a watch. Let us know what you think, and hopefully this will open up more opportunities for us to get in front of more footballers and get them onto the channel by the fans, for the fans. What we do is for you guys. Hope you're enjoying the content. Hope you're enjoying the engagements. And if you are, please don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button, and also share our channel with your friends, family, etc. Because the more we win, our community wins. And as we grow, the community grows. And I think, it's been a while since there's been a voice for South African football fans to talk through. And this channel is meant to be that voice. So, guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification. And, finally, if you've missed it, Abdul or the Shady Show happens every Wednesday evening. Some really fantastic pieces of content. Go back, have a listen. There are some amazing things that Abdul spoke about. So please give it a listen, and you definitely don't want to miss it. Make sure you have it locked in on your calendar every Wednesday evening. The Shady Show, raw, uncut, uncensored, unfiltered, and you get to see the amazing fun side of the man himself, Abdul Samad Kesam. Will the real Slim Shady please stay up? So, guys, that's it from me, the EB Show, kind of touching on a few things and unpacking a few things. uh, Hope you enjoyed it. Drop into our comments. Let us know if there's anything specific that you'd like to hear, anything specific you'd like us to touch on. We're happy to kind of unpack and drive this channel as we need to. Guys, once again, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification. And with that, we are gunning to Old Trafford. Thank you.